What eating disorders are you aware of?
Anorexia, bulimia,
Anorexia,
binge eating disorder,
anorexia,
anorexia, bulimia,
anorexia as well.
Have you heard of ARFID?
no.
I've never heard of ARFIDs.
ARFID, avoidant or restrictive food intake disorder. ARFID is an eating disorder characterized by an avoidance of certain foods or food groups, or even food altogether. There are different subtypes of ARFID, and the impact it has on a person's life varies. I had around 3 or 4, maybe 5 months off, like college, because of ARFID, because I had to be at home eating like 24/7, so I didn't have time to go out and live a normal life. So I was just sat at home eating for months, and that really impacted my social life and my educational life, and it impacted my mental health because it meant that I wasn't seeing my friends, and that was upsetting.
I'd say I can see the impact, yeah. I wouldn't say it's been, I mean, it's definitely been a big impact, but, but yeah, it's just something we have to work around, I guess.
Anyone can develop ARFID at any age. Typically, there is some sort of trigger. I ate some food on holiday and then I got food poisoning from that, and then that kind of like affected me because every time I would eat after that, I would fear that I'm going to get food poisoning again or get ill from the food. What separates ARFID from other eating disorders, such as anorexia, is that people with ARFID have little to no intent of losing weight. Instead, the reason for not eating can usually be narrowed down to 3 categories: fear of the consequences of eating, sensory-based avoidance, and a lack of interest in food. People can have one or more of these types. For me, it's a fear of being sick when I eat or being ill.
I know that my ARFID is linked to choking on food, but sometimes it's linked to being sick as well. Well, it started generally in 2016 when I was in primary school, had some food and I started choking on it. And from then on, I just was really struggling with my eating. Like, I'd stay stuck in my room to eat because I didn't want to be around my family. I didn't want them to know that I wasn't eating properly.
ARFID is often seen as picky eating, and while this can be similar, it is much more than that. I think there's a massive number of people that have ARFID and haven't realised it because, since being diagnosed, I found out one of my cousins has probably got ARFID, but no one recognised it. They brought it up in conversation saying she was just afraid of choking because they thought, oh, it's just being picky with her food and whatnot. So I think only because I mentioned that it was probably ARFID, they were able to take action because of that. And if I didn't know, no one would have known.
I know some of my friends, I hear about their eating problems and I sometimes think it's similar to ARFID and they should get it checked.
A widespread misunderstanding of ARFID is that ARFID isn't just picky eating. Rather, it is a deep desire to avoid food. This may sound the exact same, and that is because it is somewhat similar. The problem with the word picky is that it suggests that people with ARFID are avoiding food by choice, when this is far from the reality. It is more so a feeling, a subconscious obstruction. In truth, it is difficult to put into words what ARFID is.
It's just, I feel like it's very complicated to explain. It just impacts people's lives sometimes without even realising it because they're not diagnosed.
It's hard for me to say, having not experienced it. But, I don't know, it just feels like a bit of a nuisance maybe. Not for me personally, but that's how I see you experiencing it.
To me, ARFID is a blockage. It's like a barrier because it's I want to do normal things that every 19-year-old does, and then I can't do that because I've constantly got in the back of my mind like, oh, I need to be at home and eating, and I need to do this and I need to do that, and I can't be out long because I need to go and eat. So it's a blockage.
My story is my family realised the problem when I started losing weight, and then I started therapy and I got better after about a year and a half. And then in 2019 it came back like 10 times worse, and I was like 24 kilograms in hospital, and they were trying like everything, like feeding tubes and everything. It wasn't very nice. But I managed to get my weight back up to about 30 kilograms in 2 months, and then they discharged me from the hospital, and they also tried to put me in an eating disorder ward for anorexia, even though that's not the eating disorder I have. And then back in lockdown, my mum was on a Facebook page for parents who are dealing with kids with eating disorders, and she found out about ARFID, and then I got diagnosed a few years later. And still, like on a daily basis, like I will struggle with my eating, have bad days, have good days, and yeah.
I think it's just because I got food poisoning, that kind of always played in the back of my mind when I ate, because I always thought like, oh, I could get food poisoning again, or like get ill, just any sort of like sickness from eating. So then every time I ate, that would always be playing on my mind. So, and it's not just the eating is impacted, it's like I wash my hands so frequently they like become dry. I try to, if I'm going to eat something, like if I know I'm going to eat something, I don't touch anything other than the food, because I don't want to get any germs on my hand. I think only recently I've kind of like started touching food while I've been out. That's the main reason I don't eat food while I'm out, is because I don't want to touch it, because I think I've got like germs on my hand or something, because I've been out and I've been touching doors and stuff. So it's only like over the past few weeks really that I've started touching the food that I eat while I'm out, which is getting better, but it's still a slow process. But yeah, I think because I've always had like a fear of being ill, so it kind of like has always been on my mind, I don't want to be ill. And then the realization that food can make me ill was a very big impact, because that made me think, oh, like something that I thought was safe might not be. So yeah, because it's mainly based around my fear of being ill. That's like the biggest thing. That's like my biggest fear. I hate it. Like if I think I'm going to be sick, I have like a full-on panic attack. Which, yeah, I've had it for like a few years now, but I've only realised it over the past year. In fact, it's been like almost exactly a year since I was diagnosed with it. Because I went to see people just because my weight was quite low and I wanted to get my weight up. And I thought nothing of it. I thought it was just, I had a fast metabolism, that was it. Nothing more than that. But then they told me that I have ARFID, and then I did my research into it and I thought, oh, that's exactly what I have. And I hadn't realised it for ages, which is a massive worry. Like, that's really concerning, because probably so many other people have it and they just don't realise. I saw a post on Reddit, I can't remember what it was, like what Reddit it was on, but it was on about like someone saying, oh, this person's a really picky eater, they don't like this and they don't like that, grow up. And there's a lot of the time it's not something you can choose. Like, it's just the way you are, and that's And not all picky eaters have ARFID, but some of them do. Quite a lot of them do. So it is like a medical thing. Like, it's not something that they can just decide, oh, okay, I'm just going to eat this because I'm just going to grow up. It's like, it's playing on your mind, like you cannot eat that thing. Like for me, it's ham, which it might sound stupid, but like, because I got food poisoning from a ham sandwich. I didn't even eat it. I touched the ham because it was like really old ham. It was nasty. It had been in like it had been in the glove box of my car for like a week. And I was like, oh, okay, that's nasty. I'll have a look at it. It's grey, great. And then put it back, used hand sanitizer, and then I still got food poisoning, which that's fed a lot of my worries about it. Like washing my hands, that's why I wash my hands so frequently and so thoroughly, because I know that even if you do wash your hands or like you do use hand sanitizer, you can still get food poisoning. And so yeah, it's always like a thought on my mind. Yeah.
ARFID was only discovered in 2016, and therefore research into it is still in its infancy. That isn't to say that there is nothing you can do to help it.
I started seeing a team of like social workers who they've helped me quite a lot, because they've been kind of more dedicated to helping me gain weight and get back to a normal weight and get back to my normal life and being able to eat while I'm out.
I just speak to people whenever my eating's like really bad, and then I make meal plans and just kind of try and keep into a routine to manage my eating.
It is also important to note that I personally have had no issue with eating a wide variety of food, while other people with ARFID may only eat a small number of food types. A great documentary that goes into more detail about this is Not Just a Picky Eater. People with this type of ARFID may be able to eat one food today, but that doesn't mean they will be able to eat it tomorrow.
Do you think ARFID has the attention it deserves?
Probably not. Because, well, first of all, I didn't know about it. I really don't. Not a lot of people really know about it. But it's affected you a lot. So there's definitely other people that it's affected a lot, so it needs to be a bit more known.
I feel like it's not really known, and I think people should start to like do more research into it.
I don't think ARFID has the attention it deserves at all, because like no one knows about it. I've asked so many people, like, do you know what ARFID is? No one said yes, unless like they knew me before. So it is an issue that no one's aware of, and it needs to be talked about a lot more, because it impacts people more than they think, and some people have it and they don't even realise, and that's really not good. Like me, because I was diagnosed like 3 years after I had it. So 3 years of my life I could have been working towards getting better, and I just didn't know about it.
Due to the lack of public knowledge around ARFID, it can often be dismissed. People can think that a person with ARFID is overplaying it or just trying to get attention, and this is understandable as no one knows about it. That is why there is such an importance to spread awareness of ARFID.